We're live. All right, guys. All right, everyone. Good evening. Joining this session here from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, this evening, and I'm very excited to have you all on board today. All right, all right. So, you're all welcome. You're all welcome to today's session, and I promise you, it's going to be an amazing session as always, as you've always seen. The amazing things that our speakers have been bringing into the table to help beginners, to help everyone who wants to start a career in tech. Our core goal here is to set you on the right path, to set you on the right destination, to give you the right direction, to give you the right instruction, to give you the right way to do it. There's always a right way to do things. And the earlier you start doing things right, the earlier and the faster you get your results. Okay. So there is always one thing that needs to be done at every point you are facing a blocker. There is that single thing that you need to do. There is always that single instruction you need to follow. This world is not a place of luck. It is a place where policies, principles, instruction, directives give the expected result. And this is why we are here today. We are here to help you start tech the right way. We are here to give you the right answer to the questions you've been asking, the how questions, the why questions, all the questions you've had about starting your career in tech. We are here to address it. And not just in a theoretical way. We are also here with our practical experiences. We are here with our years of experiences to help you put everything right, put everything in the proper place so that you can start your tech career without glitches, without challenges. Of course, there'll be challenges, but with the right tool to confront your challenges. So I'm happy to have you all here again. We are always coming here online every Thursday by 7 p.m. West African time. Do well to join us, do well to connect. Also, invite your friends who are trying to build a career in tech, anyone around you who is trying to put it up together to become a career person in tech and an expert in tech. Tell the person that we are here for him, you are here for her, we are here for everyone who is ready to dive into tech and build a very good career in tech. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you've not subscribed, please do well to hit the subscription button and also click on notification bell so that you get notified whenever we are coming online. All right. So yeah, that's it. So let's go into what we have for today. Last week was very, very exciting. I'm telling you, it was so super exciting. We had fun, very cool conversation about the background of our our beginning, how we began and the things we experienced while starting our career in tech. Some of the things that you don't know about, some of the things you felt you are facing right now were situations we passed through. And this is the reason why we have the right experience to put you through into starting your career in tech despite the challenges you are having right now. Okay, so last week we talked about the first languages. I think Patrick mentioned him starting from a Microsoft Word background, and Victor Joseph here mentioned he started with Java. So we all discussed our background and some of the first things that we did, the early challenges we had, some of the things that try to throw us off balance, but we continue pushing. Okay, at some point for me, you go those days, some at some point I didn't even understand what I was doing. I could remember how much I was close to Stack Overflow. It became my best friend, right? So it was more like a reminder that it's okay to feel lost in the beginning. We don't argue that. If you're feeling lost, your emotions are right, okay? Because persistence, not perfection, is what gets you through those first confusion, those first period. It is how much you persist, it is how much you push that will get you through. It's not about perfection right now. So what you're looking for right now is not perfection. What you're looking for, what we need you to have, is the persistent spirit, is the persistence that will push you through these early days. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much. I will introduce myself again. My name is Prince, and I'm a software engineer here at Softzenith, and also build solutions for projects and other people around the world. So I work with teams. I work with so many people around the world, to see that we have software solutions to problems in real life experiences. Okay, so we also have Victor here, who is also a software engineer. I will allow him to introduce himself again. I know, Victor, I'm sorry I have to put you through that process again, but I think you also need to do it because we have some new persons that will be joining us today. Okay, so and Patrick is also here with us. They will share their experiences and they will share all the background that they have been through all through these years. Okay, so thank you so much, Victor. Please, I wanted to share about your experience again. Tell us who you are again, and also after that, Patrick will also go to tell us about what he does and who he is. Thank you so much. Yeah, over to you, Victor.
All right, Prince. Thank you very much for having me today. Um, so my name is Victor, Victor Joseph. I'm a software engineer, and currently I work as a software engineer at UBA to build software solutions. Um, as it is, I've been working for quite a number of years here. Um, over 5 years of experience to put that, and I'm glad to be on this show and look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pa. Thank you so much, Victor. Yeah, welcome again. Thank you for joining us today. Patrick, can you tell us about yourself? Tell us what you do.
Okay, I'm Patra Anthony, a software developer, and over the years I've um helped companies and startup solve problems using my skill. So yes, I have passion for building amazing products and solving problems. And yeah, on this session I can't wait to share my experience and help everyone that wants to learn to actually learn and share experience of what's those things that we saw while we are coming to this stage. I'm actually here to share them and help beginners you know not to make the same mistake I made along the way. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
All right, Patrick. All right, guys. Thank you so much for that amazing, wonderful introduction. So much. Thank you so much, guys. So we are here again today to continue from where we stopped. So today we'll be taking it a bit further from where we stopped last week. Still in the session of how I wrote my first line of code, the behind the scenes, and everything that happened in the early days when we all started writing our code. Because it is good that we talk about this so that people will also understand that whatsoever emotions they have at this point of their career is valid. It is not just because they are starting, but it is something that everyone had at one point in time passed through it. Okay, so I can't imagine the kind of confusions and the kind of situations I passed through at my beginning period, at those early stages, those first month, first week, the first day, the second day, the third day. At some point, it looked as if they were increasing. It wasn't even looking as if it was getting any better. I remember, I could remember the first time I felt like not doing this thing again. I wanted to just keep it and do something that would not trouble my head, trouble my emotions. Because there's this emotional attachment about your code whenever you are building and it's not working. You become angry. It has this emotional impact. I don't know, you get it. It has this emotional impact, and I know that every beginner at some point in their career, they must have experienced it where you are writing code, it's not working, and you're feeling so bad about it. You want it to work. You tried everything. Possibly it was a semicolon, it was one minor error. Because you're a beginner, you're not yet very conversant with the syntax, you're not yet very conversant with the rules of that language. You tend to find it very difficult, to put through. But the truth is that these errors, these early emotions, these challenges are actually the building blocks. They're actually the factors that help to make you stronger as a developer. They add up to the experiences that you need to grow in the field. Okay, so without these errors, without these challenges, you will find it very difficult to encounter some real life problems. Because when you face problems, you remember what you did the last time you encountered some errors, and you put those knowledge together, and that is what make up the tool that you need to push through and solve real life problems in the tech world. Okay, so guys, we have a lot of things today to tell you, and we'll be going through one step at a time, and we'll be delivering some of the experiences that we have. So um if you're excited about this moment, please, I want you to come to the chat box. You can tell us hi, hello, we are welcome. In fact, we welcome everybody who has joined us. We want to say hi, hello, whatsoever thing you feel like saying, please say it on the chat box. Drop it, tell us hi, you are following. And if you have any question, if you have any situation you want to share with us on this live session, possibly you can share it, and we'll do our best to ensure that we attend to your questions and to the situations around you that is stopping you from diving deep into your tech career pursuit. Right? Okay, so you see it, you know, one of the most powerful thing you can do after learning the basic of coding is to build something. Anything. It must not be a perfect project, but to apply the knowledge that you have gathered. Okay, so don't say that I'm in the theory stage, I'm just learning, I'm trying to start. No, no, no. Whatsoever thing you've learned, put it together and build something. Okay, so for me, during my early days, I didn't wait to master everything before I started building. I started trying out. In fact, I could remember the first time I learned operators as plus, minus, all these basic operators, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. I could remember the first time I learned how to use them and combine them with variables. I started building a simple calculator with it. I tried to make something real, something I can relate with. Okay, so the truth is that your first project does not have to change the world. You don't need to build something that will solve the world problem. It's actually targeting to change you. Okay, your first project is not about changing the world, it's about changing you. It is a proof, okay, that you can turn the knowledge you have into something real. It is also what will give you the ability to conquer the fear within. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why in this session we'll be talking more about some of the things, some of the first projects, some of the challenges we faced building our first project, and some of the first attempts that we made in our career, so that someone and some persons out there who are also following this session can relate and possibly pick up with that experience and move forward from learning to practicing. All right. So please, Victor, I want you to go first with this, right? So what did you build first after you learned the basics? I think you said it was Java you started with. Okay. So what did you build after learning the basics? What was the first project you built, and what was it like?
All right. So, for me, first project that I built, right? So when I learned Java, I didn't learn so much. I just learned a bit before realizing that I didn't want to go any further with it. So I think the first project that I built was with C++. It was a calculator. So it was just a basic calculator on the C++ console where you just put numbers and then, you know, and it gives you the sum, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and all that. And then, so I think that was much of it. I played around with C++, trying to do a lot of console application. But then after that, I then moved. So when I went to web development, and to build web development. I think the first project I built was a simple blog, like a blog where you could create posts, edit the posts, delete the posts, just simple, basic, crude operations that you can perform. And so it just helps me learn. I learned a whole lot building that project, that singular project, which I then went to turn it into, something else. This was actually supposed to be like a stock keeping application for my dad's business. So, but yeah, just in summary, these were the few projects I built. The first one, when I learned C++, was calculator, and then when I went into software, first project I built was like a blog.
Yeah, you see, I can relate with this, trying to build something for dad's business, because starting those days, I also had that same experience where the first project I tried building was basically something related to the problem around me. Okay. So because I remember that during those days, I was actually trying to build a blog. I saw blogging as part of the ways to share information, teach people what you know, and publish, articles online. And growing up, I had this passion for writing articles. I had this passion for, trying to put some of the things I know, because I read a lot. So I had the passion of writing, and I wanted to put some of them online. Some of the things that I knew then were written in, exercise books. So I wanted to publish some of those things online so that people could read and see and appreciate the little knowledge that I have. So I remember that the first thing that came to my mind was to build a blog, because I see people building blogs. Of course, WordPress was coming up then, and some of these CMS, they were coming up, but I wanted to do the hard stuff. I wanted to write the code myself. So blogging was one thing I remember that I tried building. So I tried putting my picture with HTML tag, because HTML was the first attempt of coding that I had. So I tried to put some of those things on HTML pages, do title, do heading, and all those stuff. It was looking like whack, but I tried making it look as beautiful as possible. So I relate. So one thing about starting is that there is always this problem in your mind that you want to solve. And once you get the tool of solving problems, you start with that very problem. So there's nobody here, nobody following us that would say that I don't have anything to build. As long as you are an existing human being and you're breathing, there is something you are looking up to solve. There's a problem you're looking up to solve. And don't feel intimidated about the little knowledge you have. Start from somewhere. Start with anything little. Okay. So yeah, thank you. I'll also ask you, how long did you spend in your early projects, in your first project, and possibly what were the possible errors you encountered, and how did you feel going through those errors?
So I can't quite remember for when I did C++ because I don't know, to be honest. But for when I was learning Python and Django specifically, right? When I was learning Django, I think I spent around 1 month building that blog. And to put a better context to it, um, that I was just simply following a tutorial, and I think that was one of the advice I gave in the part one of this session, where I told that you follow a tutorial, and then from there you can try and modify. So I was simply following a tutorial, like a Django tutorial, where it taught on how to make blocks. So I just was copying everything the person was doing. But even as I was copying it, it took me 1 month. So because sometimes you copy the whole stuff, and then the thing is working on his end and it's not working on yours, and you're like, yeah,
Exactly.
why is this happening? So you now start trying to debug, and then debugging as someone that is new. I mean, now there's AI and then things are a bit easy. Those days there was no, yeah, AI was about picking up. So
Mm,
right, so but when you debug, when you debug some of all those things, it take time. And so it took me like 1 month to build, because you're looking, you're copying, you're changing,
mm,
and then so but at the end, I think approximately 1 month. Then I took like another maybe 1 month again trying to modify the whole stuff. So yeah, that initial period you would spend a lot of time doing very basic things. But it's actually worth it because that's when you build foundations for your future. So that's when you build those are the basics for to build your future. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because bugs are not enemies. I keep saying this, and I will always say it. I didn't know this at the beginning stage, but bugs are not enemies. They're actually part of the learning process. It's more like you have, as a beginner, you have a scheme of topics and things that you need to know. Bugs are part of it. Just go and write it down, and it grow and it keeps coming as long as you are willing to grow, as long as you are ready to make progress and keep changing and improving. Bugs are part of the tools, part of the processes that learning brings to your table, and you have to embrace it. Okay, so no matter how long, I tell you, most one of the reasons, part of the reasons that make you spend long as a beginner in building projects is not just because the project is so big and is so wide, but because of the errors you encounter at the beginning stage. You mentioned it. We are trying to copy somebody's code directly the way the person wrote it. You're trying to put it on your own desktop, on your own PC to make it work, and it's giving you a different result. It's just because there are things that you needed to know, but you're not yet conversant, you've not yet mastered the art of doing it. Okay, so please, please, bugs are not enemies. Thank you so much, Victor. I appreciate that part. Victor, I'm so happy with this experience. But let me hear from Patrick. So, Patrick, what was your first project? What were the challenges you faced? How long did it take you? And what do you have to tell us about it?
Okay, I think mine was quite different. I think I started off with a portfolio page, right? So after I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I tried. Okay, I think then what came into my mind was, let me see if I can actually put myself out there, right? More like, I think then I saw some websites where you can look a particular person up, and you see what they do, their picture, their skill sets, and I that was kind of cool. So I thought, okay, let me do this, and put myself out there as a developer. So I think I can still remember the first line of text. I am Patrick Anthony. I think I wrote front end developer then. Yeah, and it was basically a portfolio sites. Then I started, listing my skill then, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then the whole portfolio stuff. And that was when I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That was like my first project. But when I learned Python, I think I after Python I had to like learn. I don't know if we know Tikinta, if I'm pronouncing the right way, Tikinta or Kinta if the T is silent. It's this GUI, Python GUI, right? So then I think I tried building a dictionary app, right? So it was kind of cool, right? I I basically then I think I stored um the what's it called, words and meaning, right, as keys and values, right? I think it's called dictionary in Python, right? So the word I'm trying to look up as key, then the value as the meaning of the word then. So I was basically um so it's basically a dictionary app, right? So if I can still remember, those were my first projects. And for each of them, I think they took me around, I would say, um, 1 month plus, 1 month plus for the portfolio side, because then I was still learning, and for the dictionary app, I would say 2 months plus, because I can still remember I ran into an error, and this I think there's a way Python stores keys and values. So then I think I missed, was it a colon or a semicolon I missed? and that error actually I think I battled with that error for weeks, if I can still recall, for weeks before I could finally spot that it was either a semicolon or a colon that was missing. So
Colin.
yeah, that was colon, right? Thank you. That was missing. So, and that was just me. So yeah, Prince, done. I don't know if Prince can hear us. So yes, maybe I don't know. No, Prince, we can't hear you.
Okay, okay. I think my network is pretty bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
hear you.
All right, guys. So thank you so much, Patrick. That semicolon error is more like a universal error that everybody at one point in time would actually come to face it. I pass semicolon errors. I mean, it looks so minute, it looks so minor, so small, but it can keep you for months debugging and debugging new from of the code, the lines of code, and everything looks correct. Where I encountered that error more was in PHP, because in PHP, once a semicolon is a mess. So during those days in PHP, I remember that if you miss a semicolon, JavaScript is more flexible, is like more user friendly than PHP. But in PHP, you don't miss a colon. If you do that, that's a lot of errors and bugs for you. Okay, guys, thank you so much, Patrick. Like, I can relate with all you're saying. One thing about these issues is that once they are mentioned, you can easily relate with them as long as you are in the field. So there is no new issue that is actually coming up. It has been something that people have been facing. I remember those days, yeah, ChatGPT and the rest, these AI chatbots and LLMs, they were not very common then. I don't even know if they were existing, but they are not very common. I've not actually encountered those days. I use stack online documentaries. So what I do those days, if I have a problem, I'll just go online and type the kind of issue I'm having. And to my greatest surprise, I'll find out that a post has been existing on that very error somewhere in Stack Overflow. I will be like, are you serious? I thought this thing started with me. And you would actually see a whole lineup of comments, reply, response under that post telling you that this whole error stuff is not peculiar with you. It didn't just come out because you started learning. They've been existing and people have been feeling it, people have been experiencing them over and over. At every point someone comes to that stage, they will pass through it. So it's either the error stops you or you conquer that error and move to the next thing, to the next stage, and become better. So everybody we are seeing today, our ranks in programming, in software engineering, they were tested by errors. The stronger you are as a developer, as a tech person, is determined and defined by how many errors, how many problems you have solved. That's basically what makes us software engineers. We are problem solvers. We have this love with problem and we try to solve them. So whenever you're trying to solve a problem, errors will come in to stop you. Don't allow errors to stop you. They're not enemies. They are here to help you and to make you become better. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the feedback, the comments, and everything that have been comments. Please, 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 guys. or if you are following us right now and you can hear me and you can hear what we are saying and you're enjoying it, please, I want you to drop a thumbs up, say hi, where are you connecting from, what is your current state in learning, are you still learning, are you building, are you making progress, what are the challenges you are facing? Please drop them. We would like to talk about them in this session. We don't mind whatever problem you are having. What we need you to have is the persistence and the confidence that you can put through. Okay, so guys, please drop your comments, say hi to us, and greet everybody. You can call me Prince. Patrick is here. You can call his name. You can call Victor and say hi, guys. So thank you so much for being with us here. We will do our best to ensure that we share enough experience that can help you pull through and conquer your fears in whatsoever error you are having right now. So today's session is basically about the real life experience. It's basically about the emotions around building. Okay, so the kind of emotions that we find in and around us while we are trying to develop, right? So we want you to feel comfortable with whatsoever issue you are facing at the moment. We want you to know that these things are not actually enemies, but they are tools that will help you become stronger. Okay. All right, guys. So I will come back to you again, Victor. One thing that makes you strong and makes you better is your ability to learn and improve. Over the years, there are so many things that you have learned. Over the years, there are better ways you have learned about doing things. There are better approaches you now have about problem solving. So, if I should throw up a problem at you right now and say, solve this problem, possibly build this project for me, there is an approach you would apply that you wouldn't have applied if this project or if this question was thrown at you 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Okay, so I believe that one of the things that made us seniors is our ability to learn and improve over time. Okay, so please, I would like to ask you, what are the things that you know now about your career, about building your career, some of the things that you've learned over the years? What are the things that you know now that you wish you knew in your early days of becoming a developer? So what are some of the things that you already know now, you've learned now, possibly errors taught you, experiences have taught you? What are those things that you know right now that you wish you knew before starting your career? Yeah, over to you, Victor.
Okay. So, um, thinking off of my head, I can't say so much on what I was supposed to know because um I just believe like if that path I took brought me here, it means it was a good path. But since okay, some of the things I wish I knew before, uh, I know now that would better have shaped my journey. I would say so. There was this thing I had in my head when I started my career. I think it's something that most junior developers struggle with is after you've learned the basic, after you have one or two projects you've built, getting a job. And so those days I was so, I would like to say mad at myself in the fact that I know these things, I have these skills, but you get you keep getting rejections and all that. And so I was like, what is there that I don't know? Like I know the syntax, I know, the libraries, I know these things, I can do it. So what are there? And then the first job I got when I got onboarded onboarded on the company, and I just saw the repo, the project structure and everything, my whole, what I call it, my scope just expanded, and I was like, wow, I don't know a lot. And so I think one thing I would have said is those days when I started, I just felt like, okay, once you've learned if else statement and follow, you are good to go and everything is should fall on your plate. Meanwhile, there were a whole lot of things that um I still didn't understand. And I just didn't understand them up until I got my hands on the project. So in my own case, right, I would say what 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 I would advise someone, and I'd say I'd advise someone that's still starting out, if you can contribute to open source projects, if you can find projects that maybe someone is working like a startup or something and then volunteer for this for such kind of project, it will help expand your knowledge, your scope. And this is because real life, when you work with real life data, it's very far different from building your portfolio. When you are now tasked to build someone else's portfolio, you'd see the difference in it. So if you can find opportunities to volunteer, you see someone on LinkedIn building an amazing product, you reach out to the person and say, hey, I have so kind of skills. I would love to help you. I would love to contribute my skills to your organizations or to your company. And if probably maybe that's not the route for you, you can try building something and having it out in the public. So it's quite important. So having something out fresh in the public, build it start to finish. One of the problems I think I see people do, like junior developers do, is they build a project, they build the most fanciful part of those projects, and then they just leave off the rest and say, oh, I've worked on this project. So, but that's not it. When you want to build a solution, try and build it holistically, right? Try and build it end to end. So you say you're building a blogging app, go and look at Facebook or look at Twitter and see and try and see how you can replicate the entire feature that is in Facebook. See how Facebook has like a, how do we put it, a sub comment under a sub comment under a sub comment. That's a difficult problem, right? It's not as if it's doable. That's why they do it, but it's a difficult problem to have. I remember one day we were discussing it in office, how you can have an infinite loop of comments in a blog post. Those kind of problems is what you may not readily see if you just went and built a simple blog app and then you just added a comment that is just a comment under a post and nobody can comment under your comment and it just goes down there. So let me not take much of time, but some of all these things I would say one of the major things is get your hands dirty, and not just dirty on only side projects. If you can get your hands dirty on a company's project, perfect. If you can't get it, when you build your projects, build it holistically, build it to a to a standard that it can be used by a user, that someone can come and then use the app and it just works. Yeah. Hello, Prince. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, I'm done speaking.
I don't know if it's Prince Network. Well, I don't know if it's Prince Network. Can you hear me, Victor?
Yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. Or maybe we could just keep on chatting till he comes back.
Yeah, sure. So, the question he asks, my 2 cents would be, I think the question was what I would think I would have known before I started. Okay, I would say, oh, Prince is back. I would say mine. I think then I would say I felt more inferior, right? So even then, what was it called? Inferiority complex, or what was the name given?
Imposter syndrome.
This. Thank you. The imposter syndrome. So I think if I were able to go back in time, I would really fight that because when you get in, and most of the time you realize that you know just a little bit of research, probably a little bit of question, you know, you would have really, figured this out. But because of, the imposter syndrome, you felt, oh, probably I'm not good enough. But
Yeah.
sometimes, you come to realize that, come on, I do know this thing. I really do know this thing, but why was I, feeling this way? And sometimes you realize that, you know, um, some seniors are just seniors with, a
Confidence.
minute or second or hours confidence, thank you, or work that, if you put in that work also, you are definitely going to be a senior as well. So yes, I think if I were able to go back in time, I would fight imposter syndrome because I think I know juniors that if given opportunities, they can do extremely well, right? And another thing, I will always say is to know how to learn, right? You know, um, when we are able to really, do stuffs now, probably quickly or you know without being intimidated is probably because we've figured out how to tackle that problem, right? Think over the years, I've seen how different developers solve their problems, right? So now, if a junior understands this, if a beginner understands this, then they will move fast the beginner's title as fast as possible, right? So
Yep.
knowing how to solve problems, like how to actually tackle problems, right? So I think that's one of the things I would really try to focus on then, right? And I would say another one would be um more social publicity, right? As I then, you hardly like, put what I do out there, right? I can't really see why I didn't do that. Maybe I was busy learning because content creation, I do know that takes a lot of time, and before you're going to build what you're building and try to like make posts of all of those stuffs, right? It's going to take a lot of time. I don't know if that was the reason, but I didn't just take that too seriously. So yeah, I would say if I were able to go back in time, I will as well invest more in you know the social visibility. I don't know if you can hear me, Prince. I'm done. So that was just a bit, of my 2 cents about the question you asked earlier.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I sincerely apologize for the inconsistency in network. I don't know why they are hitting it bad on me seriously this evening, but that's part of the things you need to push through and pull through. Guys, please. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you, Victor. You see, there is always something you can do better, right? Because one thing that we've come to understand about learning is that if you are making progress, there is always testimonies about how much you would have done it better than you had already done it in the past. Okay, so um, I'll still continue with this question, right? I'll still add to this question. So, if you are to start a tech career afresh in 2025, let's say you now have a lot of experience, you must have learned a lot over the years. So if you are to start afresh this year, how would you approach your beginner experience, and how would you start? And how would you explain your progress to us, your pattern, your learning path, learning resources, and everything you feel that will make you learn faster and better? So tell us, narrate, more like share with us how you would love to start your career if you are asked to start afresh this year. I think I will hand over to Victor Joseph.
Okay, so if I get just clarify the question, you mean like a roadmap I would use and my strategies? Is that it? Okay, so
Okay, so the question I asked was, how would you start your career if you are to start afresh this year?
okay. So on that, if I were to start, I think first thing first, if I so anytime I advise people, right, I'd say there's a part if you have funds, there's another part if you don't have funds. If I don't have funds, let me just take the other part. If I don't have funds and I'm to start over again, at least I'll be able to save up enough money to buy an Udemy course, right? I'll take up an Udemy course. There are good tutorials on Udemy that covers the foundation of software development. And if I were to start today, I would stick with learning Java instead of Python, right? It's it's I'll just stick to it, right? I have my reasons on that, but it's more of a low level language, and it will teach you a lot of things that sometimes Python can abstract away. Some of these high level languages can abstract away. So it's always good, even if you end up working with some high level languages, you should learn a low level language. But if I were to start again, I would pick Udemy resource to use and learn. If I am so broke, I would go through a YouTube. I'll find a good playlist, a YouTube playlist, right? So there are some good um Udemy courses that I know of. There's some Udemy creators I know of. For somewhere in Java, there's this I can't remember. There's this Indian creator and content creator I can't remember that has a very wonderful course, but there are a lot of them. So online courses I was going to use once I am able to complete one of those, right? So if I'm going into software development, I'll typically take a course that will teach me the language itself to understand the fundamentals. And then after taking a course that teaches me the language, then I'll pick a framework, a popular framework on that language, and then I'll learn that language. And then after I've picked it, so this can happen somewhere between like about 3 months, somewhere between 3 months to use to learn this thing and learn it solid, learn it well. And then after that, I'll just go into building a project. And then after building a project, like Patrick talked about when he was speaking, I would publicize that project. It's something that I didn't do at all, right? I don't think I ever publicized my project. My project was just with me and my computer and my family members. So um I would publicize that project, and I would try and build a project from scratch. If it's a blog app, I would build that blog app and then put it out there and say, call call a group of friends or so and tell them, try this blog out and give me feedback. And then once I'm done with that, um and then I would start, like I told you said earlier, start looking for companies that I can volunteer for. Find startups that are still starting out of the scratch and starting out, early stage startups, um, and then build something, or find a problem in my surrounding, and then build a solution. And like I said, not just building a solution that just, is just fanciful. I think I see that I mean, we're talking about software, but part of tech is the UI UX space. And I see this like with a lot of UI UX people. You see someone who is a UI UX designer starting out, and then when you go to their portfolio, all you see is landing pages. Like, who is going to hire you for just landing pages? When you want to do when you want to do proper UI UX, you're talking about like a full, full entire application, building the buttons, building all those small details. But you just see a whole lot of flashy, stunning landing pages. And as good as those things are, they are not a complete stuff. So one of those things that I would do is build a complete project end to end, something that is solid. Everything works. Your delete is working, your edit is working as it's supposed to be. People who are supposed to see things are seeing what they are supposed to see, and those that are not supposed to see things are not they are not authorized to see certain things and not supposed to see those things. So it should not just be something shabby. That's what I'll build. Is either so as I'm probably applying for startups, early stage startups and all that, I'm also I'm also trying to build something solid going that way. So there are also other things that um so this whole process can take somewhere between 6 months and to 1 year. There are also other things, little things that one can learn on the way, which are actually essential for software development. You talk about GitHub, talk about um, you know, if you're inclined to backend, you're talking about CI/CD, at least a bit of CI/CD and Docker containerization and all that. So some of those knowledges you can start bridging it in while you're doing all this project. And obviously, right, as you start building these projects, you start seeing the need of some of all these tools, right? But this is the part I essentially would take. Go pick an Udemy course, or if I don't have money, YouTube course. Find a YouTube course. There are a whole lot of good YouTube tutorials. Yeah, the person I was trying to talk about was Mosh Hamenani. I think I pronounced his name correctly. Yeah, he teaches, his tutorials are very good. So um if I pick a YouTube course, learn a language, like a language. After learning a language, learn a framework under that language that is for software development. And then after learning that framework, then I build my first project. Once I build my first project, I start uh, applying to, you know, startups and can take my career from there. And Patrick, maybe you could talk while Prince is still coming out.
Okay, I think it's Prince Network again. But I don't think I really have much to answer on that. But I think my response to that question would be um I would take the project I don't seriously. I mean, I think but then I had a lot of cool ideas that if I had persisted with them, if I had taken them a bit further, right, and probably publicize, right, it would have probably gone far, right? Who knows, right? So I think I would have followed that path, you know, when I was learning. See, time I was learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the ideas I had, right, and even the like time I learned Python, I think the ideas I had, I would have just um consistently follow them up, right? And say probably get a domain and make sure they go live. So, but that didn't happen because they probably just end up in a local host, right? So I think I would have done that. And um, another thing, I believe another thing I would have done is I think I will pick up a mobile development language, right? Say yeah, Java by then, right? Java by then, because um I think by then I had a very good mobile idea, and there was an opportunity I had then, right? That if I had a mobile development knowledge, it would have really helped me at that time. So yeah, if I were to go back, I would have picked up a mobile development language.
But then,
Yeah.
Patrick,
So
I think. I think more of what we'll talk about is like if you were to advise someone today, like 2025, right? As in, like, what would the roadmap be? Because I think there are a lot of changes in the industry right now, and some things have changed. I don't know.
Okay,
So maybe like
okay,
from your own
yeah,
front end perspective, like I guess you could give like a roadmap, something like that.
okay, yeah, the roadmap. Well, I don't think the roadmap is really going to change, right? Because um, if someone wants to learn, web development, I don't think I'm going to, recommend another language than, JavaScript. So yeah, I would still recommend HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and from there, yeah, they can proceed to learn a library or a framework, right? Like yeah, React, and if you know React, then you can do Next, right? So Next, and that's for web development. But if you don't want to, let's say the add knowledge of Python, I can say okay, you can go with Python and Django, right? For web, that works for web also. But for me, right, the roadmap I would still advise for a web developer is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, um, Next, React Next for front end, and for back end, right? I Node.js, right? So not much of a change, right? Um, it's hasn't really changed for me, right? And yeah, and Node for back end, um, they can probably learn Nest.js, right? For that's Node framework, and yeah, databases, MongoDB, um, SQL, and the rest, right? So the roadmap hasn't really changed, at my end. I wouldn't really advise something different than yeah. So I'm done. I Since you've lost Prince again.
Yeah, so I think he dropped a question while he before he left, and where he talked about from first line to first job, um what helps you grow?
What are
What
you
can you
doing?
say was incremental to your success in where you are? Um do you want to go first?
Well, if you want to, you can go first.
Okay, so I think I can take that. So I think one of the things that helps me grow um in my career was um the the passion I had to learn. So I I I while I was coming up, I had this I was just so serious about it. I was just so serious about it. And I had a reason behind that.
Prince, you're back. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Seems I lost at some point.
Okay, yeah. So like I was saying, so I think one of the things that I had was this like burning desire to get this career up and running. And I think one of the motivating factors was I think as at that period I was about finishing school, and I was asking myself this question. I came to school to get a degree, and I was looking at the degree and I was like, how is this thing going to fetch me a job? Like, so I graduated from mechanical engineering, and then I was kind of asking myself, like, what's the job market for an engineering degree was kind of scary. One of the reasons was I think when I was trying to get an internship placement to for my 6 month IT, and I knew the struggle I went through just to get an internship placement, and then I was thinking in my head, if I go through this struggle just to get an internship placement, which for some of them they would either give you a stipend or not pay you at all, and they're
Yeah.
passing me through this kind of stress, and I was like, what's going to happen to me when I'm done? And then I need a full salary
Try to
and
get a job.
yeah, to get a job and all that. So it's like, man, I'm cooked. I need to find something to to get my life together. And so as a then I was already into software. So I was like, I need to get this thing serious. Like it's either I get this thing or man. So that just became my plan A, and I began to take it as serious as I take my academics. And I remember during I think COVID period, I would sit on my decks from like morning till evening, and I would just be hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. So for me was there's this zeal and passion, and sometimes I find that like kind of missing in a lot of young developers. You see them just start and then move one two, and yeah, they've given up and all that. So it's a long game that you need to play, right? And so you need to have the patience and the endurance for it, and then to pull through it. So for me, I just keep it short. Say it was passion. It was the willingness. It was um the fact that I was facing a fear that I would leave school, and the last thing I wanted was to go back to my parents' house and then just go and sit down. So that passion was what really helped me grow. And I think I still have it on I think it's on my Facebook profile. If I don't know it, I can learn it. And that was like my motto. And if I don't know something, I can learn it. So whatever it is, so long as there is a road to get to this place, I'm going to get to that place. And that was like the the drive and then the motivation that kept me going. And maybe you could take it, Patrick. So Patrick, if you're speaking, I think your mic is turned off.
Sorry, I didn't notice that. Thank you. So yeah, from first line to first job, I think I can relate to your own story also, right? So it's was also about persistence. I believe I know persons that actually started a career before me, right? And I would say my consistency actually contributed to my own growth, right? And yeah, consistency, the drive to make extra research. I believe I think at the time, even when I was in my IT, that was my 400 level in the university. Um, you know, I was as well, lecturing persons that were also on IT. So right, so I would say the drive to actually go back and put in the extra work helped me push me from my first line of code, right? The consistency, the sleepless nights, you know um that drive to keep going, even when sometimes it doesn't really make sense. Sometimes it works and you just don't understand why it's worked, right? And yeah, that was it, right? From first line, first job, I would say um community as well helped me grow, right? I think my first gig was from a friend, right? We're still very cool friend now. I think he's a CEO, right? The founder of one of the startups here. Um yeah, that was a friend, right? and I can still remember my first gig came from that guy. And yeah, community helped me grow. And yeah, that's all I can remember. I don't know. Prince is not on this call, and I don't know. Victor, should we end it here?
Yeah. I think we might. So just to wrap it up, I think I agree with you on community. I think one of the things um that that helped me was also community. So I had this community Ingressive for Good, and Ingressive for Good was really helpful in my growth. So I think would wrap it up here. Since Prince is not around, it's been nice having everyone on the call. Um, we talked about various experiences that each one of us have gone through to get here, and what has helped us, and also like a roadmap to get to from beginner to being mid-level or senior. And I think the main takeaway from this is don't give up. Whatever thing um, you've put your hands to do, you should ensure that you do it well, do it with commitment, do it with zeal, do it with passion, uh, do it like your life depends on it. I sometimes tell people that the software development, this software stuff is actually what people go through 4 years, some even 5 years in schools to get a degree on. And so if you're going to compress all that in 1 year, you have to be intentional about it and ensure that um, you have your things together and do it well. So I think we'll take it we'll wrap it up here. If you have any questions, you can feel free to drop it on the chat or on the social media handles, and um,
Yeah.
someone will respond to your messages. Thank you everyone for joining this session. I think Prince is back. Probably he could just wrap things up. Um, yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I think you said it all. I sincerely apologize for the network this evening. We'll do. It wasn't planned at all, but it's fine. Thank you for our amazing speakers who were able to cover up the ground even when I was not here. Thank you, guys. So keep building, like he has said. Put in commitment in what you are doing. Victor has said it all. Patrick has said it all. I don't have so much to say again. The only thing I would love to tell you is that errors are not your enemies. Don't stop building. Keep pushing. Be afraid of mistake. Focus on problem solving and tools, right? So your journey will have challenges. I'm not promising you a challenge-free journey, but what I'll tell you is that you will walk it out, you work it out with confidence, and you're gonna be victorious, right? Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.